Hi, my name's Ryan Durham, and thank you for joining me here at Homebound Audio. I am an audiobook narrator and voiceover actor. I'm really just kind of getting started and building my resume, but this is something that I've been building towards for quite a long time now, and I'm super excited to be on this journey. So thank you for joining me as we go down this road together. So today, I just wanted to give you a little bit of an inside look at what it's like to actually audition for one of these titles. And so we're going to take a look at some of the options to audition for today. And I'm going to have you join me while I actually put the audition together. Thanks. Okay, so as you guys can see, I am here on the academyvoices.com website. And these are some of the jobs that they have available to audition for. And so this is just my own personal preference. I actually like to scroll all the way down to the bottom and just see what there is that I haven't done. And honestly, there's a lot because I am just getting started. Now, to be honest, fiction still makes me a little bit nervous. It's also not what I want to focus on long term. I would really like to do a lot of nonfiction work, especially good works of faith. But here we go. There's a history of nursery rhymes. Let's just see. We'll click on it, get some information. An historical account that delves into the origins and evolution of nursery rhymes. Okay, well, you know what? I think we're going to give this a shot today. And so here's the script that they want us to read. And so what I do, and of course, there's probably a million better ways, but this is just my process. Okay, so now that we have selected our script, we've gone ahead and pasted that over here into Pages or Word, whatever you want to use to do that for yourself. And I always make sure you can see here that I also include what they're looking for in the voice, the tone, the pace, just that those overall instructions here, because we know that when they begin to cast for this production, that these are the things that they're going to be looking for. And I'm going to try to do that as well as I can. So one of the things that I will look at is words that I really want to try to focus on and things like that. But something that does sometimes help is instead of just trying to micromanage the entire process, and this is a very short script, but instead of trying to micromanage it, I'll read through it the first time and just see how it feels. You will also notice that I'm recording raw, no effects of any kind. And so we're going to go ahead and start this pre-roll and just see how it feels for us today for this audition. All right. Nursery rhymes, though most often relegated to the province of childhood, possess a lineage far more curious and, at times, far more serious than their simple verses would suggest. It is easy to suppose that such rhymes were composed merely to amuse the young. Yet, upon closer examination, one finds traces of history, fragments of political satire, and echoes of events long since faded from common memory. Consider, for instance, how a seemingly innocuous line, repeated for generations without question, may in fact conceal a reference to courtly intrigue or to the fortunes of a monarch whose reign has otherwise slipped into obscurity. These verses endure not solely because of their melody or rhythm, but because they have, in some subtle fashion, preserved the sentiments of those who first uttered them. To study them, then, is not merely to revisit the amusements of infancy, but to uncover a curious and often unexpected record of the past, hidden in plain sight and carried forward upon the lips of children. Okay, so now just to walk you guys through my process here, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off this tail end. So we find right where we're done speaking, and we'll take it from about right there, and we're going to give it about 1.5 seconds. Generally speaking, what they'll want is they'll want anywhere between 1 and 5 seconds on your tag. And so we're just going to take off that excess, and then we're going to shoot all the way back here to the beginning. And we're going to find right where we first start talking, which is right about there. And whoops. Come here. There we go. All right, so we'll start there, and then we'll just stretch out this other direction. Now what I'm doing here is I'm going to put about just a little bit more than a half second, 0.6 there. And that's the beginning. So I'm going to take out everything before that. And so now we have a good heading to our file and a good footing to our file. Now from here, what I'll do is I'll just kind of shrink that down. Now, one thing we want to do is we want to go back through. I won't do it in this video, but normally we would go back through. We would listen to everything that we had recorded, take out any obscene sounds that we might see. As I just scroll through the waveform here, I'm not seeing anything in particular that just jumps out at me immediately. And so what I'll do now is I'll just render this file. And I'm going to render this file as a waveform. So I'm going to come over here to my options and wave. And we need to reword it, or rename it rather. So I'm going to name it the raw file. And it's raw nursery rhyme audition. Okay. So then I'm just going to render that file here. And you see it's done rendering so quick. It was actually a very short file anyway, so I'm just going to hit open folder, and now I'm going to open up my RX11. Keep in mind there are no effects of any kind placed onto this file yet. And so RX tried to open, oh, that's an old file that I didn't save. I just need to tell it not to look up all that old stuff. So here we go. Now I'm going to just take my raw file, drop it into my RX. One thing that RX does that I just started realizing recently is it adds this little dead space here, and we don't want absolutely dead space in our audio. It's just unnatural, so I always cut that out. Now we can see our waveform looks pretty healthy. Now we do still see a lot of noise down here on this bottom end. That's our low frequencies, but we're going to get rid of all of that here very shortly. And so everything else here, and this is really neat. I'm going to zoom in here. I love this program so much. And so you can see, let's go back here. There you go. You can see here in between sentences and words that there's still some space and some sound. Some of that's my breathing. I am a heavy breather, so we're just going to click on our module chain here. These are the only effects I use. They are very low settings, gentle. Less is more, as they always say. And I'm just going to render that chain. Now watch this. As it renders it out, you can see RX just cleaning up. And it's not erasing my breaths or any of those things. It's just taming it down. And so now that that's completely finished, you can see how quick that was. I'm now just going to go here to File. Well, hold on. Let's do this. Let's close this down. And then I'm also going to have to do this because I am slow. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go over here, and we're just going to say Export. Where did it go? Why am I not finding? Oh, because I'm in Reaper. There we go. Back to Isotope. Here we go. Export. Okay, I'm still going to export it as a WAV file. And hit OK. Now this time, instead of it being raw, we're going to hit clean, because that's how I tell myself I've cleaned it up, right? So, and I also like capital letters and my stuff like that. So we're going to hit clean. We're going to make sure we put it into the right folder, which is our clean RX folders. And so here we go. We're going to save it there. Now, as I come back over here, I'm going to just take this raw file out, and it is saved. So I didn't just delete it entirely. I do still have access to it. But now I'm going to take my clean file, clean nursery rhyme auditions. That's what we just did. Drop that in here, and we're just going to turn our effects on. And we always just take a look at I don't really use the noise gate unless we have some serious issues. I'm going to hit the EQ, my comp, my limiter. All of these are very gentle settings, okay? And then, honestly, it's that simple, okay? So now I have all of those effects turned onto this file, and we could give it a quick listen here. Now, we're not going to listen to the whole minute, but we are going to just listen to the beginning of it. And nursery rhymes, though most often relegated to the province of childhood, possess a lineage far more curious and, at times, far more serious than their simple verses. So you can see it really has tamed those breaths. It's taken out any background noise. And then, so here would be kind of essentially my last step before I would do anything else here. I would look by the way, I do normally look at these JS audio statistics for the entire file. I will listen to it and get a complete average and everything. But it's also a little quicker for me to, now that I have this complete master file, to go over here and render it one more time, which we're going to have to do anyway. But this time I'm going to render it as an MP3. Oops, hello. There we go. And I'm just going to label it Mastered Nursery Rhymes Audition. Okay. And so now we're just going to render that file. We're going to open our RX back up one more time. And you see it takes just a touch longer, but now here we open that folder. Here's that mastered file. I'm just going to drag and drop it into RX. Again, I do need to take out that digital silence that they always put here on the back end. We just highlight this here on the back end and then just cut that out entirely. And then what I will do, and this is just easier for me to read than the JS statistics, I highlight here, and now what it's doing is it's telling me what everything is. So right now it looks like my average noise floor is sitting around negative 76 dB, which is excellent for me. And our integrated loudness, this is how loud the file is going to be, is around 20.3. And so this file would be ready to submit. And so I would rename it according to what Voice Academy would want, or excuse me, Academy of Voices would want. And then we would send it along with our thank you note for the opportunity to audition. And then we would go find our next script. Okay, guys, so that's really it. Now, obviously, I went through that very quickly. I would actually want to sit and reread it a couple of times, make sure that I'm giving it what they're asking for, and that it feels really good to me. But that is the general process. And you can see my mastering, my editing doesn't really take that long. Now, going through and listening for all of the mistakes, that will take a little bit longer. But as far as the actual mastering process, at least with what I do, which is very, very basic and very, very light, currently right now it doesn't take me very much time at all, thanks to RX11 and to Reaper and having those process chains and having those settings set to where it's just set and go, set and go. And so, hey, listen, I thank you for joining me here at Homebound, and I look forward to possibly working with you in the future, learning from you in the future. If you could hit the like button, subscribe, all those things, share it with somebody if this is something that has interested you. Thank you for joining me. And until we see each other again, stay faithful to the word.